Thanks everyone for joining us for another Storage Meetup. This is the special edition of the Storage Marketing Meetup. Got some buddies of mine on here, just great marketing minds, free flowing. Got your questions. Make sure you raise your hand, put it in chat. This is the panel to ask your questions, and we're just going to be talking storage marketing. But obviously, at the top of each hour, every time we do these, I definitely like to have the show and tells. To give everyone an opportunity to have, the services, vendors in the industry, be able to showcase we got 10 minutes. So today we got Audra from Sitewear on. So you're on the clock. I'll let you go.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm Audra Policadetti with Sitewear. The name of our company is Aporva, and the name of our product is Sitewear. Today happens to be the 25th anniversary of the Aporva Corporation, so it's kind of an exciting day for us. I wanted to start with a quick presentation. 10 minutes isn't long enough to give a full-size demo of our product, but I wanted to give you just a little bit idea of where we started. The genesis of this was to kind of replace the clipboard and create a little more of a synchronized way to communicate all things maintenance of your facilities, with the goal in mind to speed up resolutions by making it easy to walk your sites with a tablet or a phone so that you can identify issues, assign them to yourself or others quickly, and be able to resolve them. It's a one source of the truth, no having to go back into file cabinets, etc. It makes it just a bit easier to keep everybody connected. We have at the heart of it a custom template builder that allows you to create consistent, standardized audits and walkthroughs for your team so that when you have multiple facilities, you can make sure that everyone's following the same protocol. There's an executive dashboard so the managers or directors or area folks can keep an eye on all of the facilities and see how everybody's scoring, see where people might need help, and provide the resources that might be necessary.
Are you sharing your screen?
I, yes, no.
You're not. Yeah, share
Oh
your screen.
goodness.
You're good.
Gosh. One moment, please.
I kept waiting, like, where's the screen share? Yeah.
I'm just going on and on. All right, let me try this again. Uh,
There you go.
okay, there we go. All right, I'll get the right thing up in front of me. All right, so anyway,
Yep, there you go.
um, yeah, so I'll go through this quickly so we can get to showing you what the actual application looks like. So again, our tagline is Siteware Empowering Smarter Sites. As I said, replacing the clipboard, having a more unified way of standardizing across all of your facilities, and an easier way to view the progress, see what tasks are outstanding, see what things might be overdue. And I always like to tell people when we do a demo right from the beginning, also what our costing is, because sometimes everyone's always waiting, like, well, what's it cost? So we have a very simple cost structure of just $50 per location per month. It includes everything, the onboarding, setting up people. We even will take your current spreadsheets or audits that you currently use and we'll create them for you. And we also teach you how to build as many templates as you want in the future. You can use our templates for across everything. You can even use them for onboarding new employees. You can use them for internal surveys. The template builders is really powerful in what it can do for you beyond just creating a great audit. So with that, I will move over to what our site actually looks like. So when you come into the Siteware site, you'll land on the dashboard. This is a quick view of how many audits are due across your organization, tasks, checklists, active work orders, etc., and how you're scoring across sites. So we have a scoring system that's built into the application. So as you're going through your properties and you're marking them, you can also choose the weight of what some questions are versus others. And this kind of gives you a way of being able to see from facility to facility what you're ranking. So This is the executive dashboard. And again, it's just a quick hit about what's going on today, what's going across all of your organization. And then we have one that's a little bit more drilled into specifically the audits and the tasks at a quick glance, as well as work orders. We define work orders as the items that need to be completed by others besides your internal team. So maybe you need your gate expert, your electrician, your landscaping crew that we put under the work order category, whereas tasks would be things assigned to you or your other teammates. So to kind of just give you a view
That
of,
is the most
what,
action I've seen in this property in 20, 30 years.
okay. So
I'll mute them. Go ahead.
one of the things that we've recently rolled out was the walkthroughs. The walkthroughs give you an opportunity to, let me move this, give you an opportunity to walk the property with your phone or tablet, be able to check things off. If it's not rentable, you can mark it off real quick. You have actions where if you need to create a note, add media, or add a task as you're going through, you can just do it right from your phone and tablet. So you don't have to do something on paper and then come back and put it in the computer or make those assignments. We wanted to make it as quick and easy for people to do this. When you're setting up your walkthrough, not in the screen, but in the settings, you can also put in the order of how you actually walk the property. So that we found is really helpful and speeds things up. We also have what's called a quick checklist. So people sometimes want just a quick and dirty, something like I want to, this one's a unit access inspection. We have things that are sometimes opening up the office, right? And this is just a quick thing where people can say yes, no, not applicable, and be able to just kind of go through a quick checklist. This is also helpful almost as a training guide too when you have new people starting or just simply for wanting to have consistency across your brand. Work orders we touched on, but just to kind of show you what one looks like, show you a completed one. Oh, one moment here. Aha, there we go. So repair gate access. So this is what it looks like when you're creating a work order. It has all kinds of opportunities for you to put in more details, and there's many custom fields that you can put in here yourself. If something's really specific to the way you do your business, you can add it as part of what you want your work order to look like. Any notes done from that work order, you can put here as well. Just to give you a quick glance at tasks. So tasks that you assign, whether you can assign yourself a task, whether or not you're in a walkthrough or doing an audit, even if you're just like, oh, I got to remember this. So you can create these tasks. You can always add media, notes, and video. Sometimes a picture or a video is worth more than 1,000 words, right? And getting your point across.
Minute
Um,
warning.
and then just to show you the audits, this is the most powerful part. This takes a little bit longer to show. Obviously, we don't have that much time here, but I want to show you what a completed audit report could look like. You can see the grades are in here too. There we go. So at the end of your audit, you can publish this. It gives you, everybody kind of does their audits a little differently. Here's an example of someone who kind of created it by categories, right? General facility overview, unit inspection, security and safety. And then it includes the scoring on how they did as they went through it. So this is like what the final audit would look like. Okay. We also have a section for assets. Assets we usually describe as something that's a little bit more expensive, like your AC units, for you to be able to track when the repairs were, and assign certain vendors to that as well. You can have, QR codes, barcodes. A simpler, lighter version of that is parts. If you have certain parts like light bulbs and things like that, you can keep track of them in our system as well. And we also have a spot for your vendors. So if you have vendors that you want to use exclusively for a certain site, you'd be able to put them in here. And vendors can also interact through the vendor portal and they can see the
Hey.
work that you have.
You got
So
about a minute
anyway,
left.
this is the quick quick like tour of the site. This event also includes a CRM where you can also assign it to location, and managers will be able to see all the vendors, all the people, and it's all permission based. So you can choose who in your organization sees what. So I know my time is up, but thank you so much. If you have questions, please reach out to us.
No, that's great. It's clean. A lot of times I see stuff like that. It's like it's a jumbled mess. I like that because it's looks clean and orderly, and you know what everything does.
Thank
So
you.
no, it
Well,
looks great.
we've been working really hard on it the last 2 years. I mean, what it was two years ago was simply just digitizing a checklist. I mean, a walkthrough.
Yeah.
And then from there, we've added many, many more parts. We also have a mobile app. And we're just doing a refresh on some of the UI, and that'll be released next week. So we're super excited about that. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and we
go ahead and
we
put
do
your
releases
information
every
in.
2 weeks.
That's great. So you go ahead and put your information in chat, and they can reach out, get a demo, whatever. That'd be awesome.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much. All right, let's get on with the marketing. Again, this is each week, it's a little bit different. How the, free flowing conversations, whatever. And I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm like, I just want a marketing focus. So reached out to my buddies, and a few minutes later, like, I'm in. And again, you guys are here every week, so I appreciate it. So the fact that you're like, jump right on, I'm like, cool. What are we talking about? I don't know. Marketing. That's the point. So I'll spotlight everybody, get you on here as you come up. You can do a quick little introduction here. Do a 30-second. Eva, I'll put you up first here.
Yay, I always love being first.
Hey,
Hi,
thank you.
everybody.
That's why you are.
Just put me on the spot. It's fine. It's fine. No, hi, everybody. My name is Eva. Longtime attendee of the Jim and Jim show, or the 3 Mile Marketing Show. It's had a couple of names now. It's
It's
kind
changed.
of
It's changed. It's morphed.
changed. I'm catching up still. But I've been working in the industry going on 12 years now. Started off at a property management company and really saw that there was a gap, there was a need for marketing when I was there, being internal. And then from there, I moved over to a web stack development company, worked another about 4 years there. Again, saw another gap between the paywall and the client. So I decided to step out from behind the paywall and become just a holistic marketer for the storage industry. And that's where I'm at right now. I'll pass it on to, it looks like Cori's to my right. So
I'll go next. Gosh, I feel so privileged to just hang out with everybody. This is such a great group of marketers, and I love getting inspiration. But I've been in the industry for 23 years now, and it's just been exciting to see. I think there we go. I think it was Jim. And I just love joining I love joining the meetup every week. It's just a great time to learn what everybody's pain points are and really experience it. But I've been in the industry for 23 years. I handle a lot of customer experience and digital marketing and prop tech along the way. So I worked for a large operator in California for 17 years. Started off running their call center, kept asking about a website and got charged that and launched my digital marketing career. Did that for a long time, frontline IT, I mean, just everything and anything, wore many hats, but it's been an amazing journey and I've learned so much. Worked in prop tech for 2 years. That's where I met the lovely Eva. And it's just been great. I decided prop tech wasn't for me. And I love working with operators and helping figure out your challenges with marketing, operations, and tech and marrying those all. That's kind of been my area of expertise, and I love it. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess, but it's been fun along the way. So,
You
and
love it.
yeah, I do. And I think with that, I'll turn it over to John.
Hey everybody, I'm John. I am the founder of StorIQ. We are a marketing and automation and attribution platform for self-storage. I got into the industry probably about 3 years ago. My background was just in SEO, ad management, and a lot of different industries. I was looking into investment options and kind of stumbled on storage and then realized kind of the value marketing actually has to growing kind of the business. So that got me pretty excited. And then I also own 3 small facilities myself. So I'm starting to get a little more experience on the actual operations and kind of business side now, which has been kind of helpful to round out the marketing and business side of things.
That's good. You got to know the operations because it all ties together. So the fact that you're doing
Yeah.
that's awesome. Tyler, you're up, man.
Cool. Well, My name is Tyler. I run the storage agency. We are a marketing agency working with about 200 facilities across the US and creeping into Canada now. We primarily do Google Ads, local SEO, content development, now web development, and it's just been a joy being part of this esteemed group of colleagues now for probably about a year for me. So fire away, ready for some questions.
No, it's great. It's again, anybody that's on here, any specific questions, raise your hand, put them in chat. Perfect. We'll keep an eye out. Like I said, this is just free flowing. I'm curious. Obviously, this is what you guys do, day in and day out. You're breathing every day for this stuff. Is there anything newer that people should be aware of that's out there to make sure they are aware of, so it doesn't come back to bite them in the butt for not doing it?
I posted it on my LinkedIn, but if you don't
Okay.
follow me, I want everybody to know because if you're a provider or if you do marketing or if you have a provider, I want you to go and ask them to do this, but link your Google business profile to your Google Analytics for. So Google Business Profile just recently integrated so that we can have all of our data in one place. It's a little bit lackluster in the terms of a few things, like it doesn't separate out the facilities if you have multiple facilities. It only lasts for 6 months, so if you want to keep your historical data, you're going to have to download it and back it up. Those are a few things that are like the caveats, like pitfalls, but it's still data. So I'm happy that we have something that we're, starting down that path. And it's pretty simple as long as you have your Google business profile linked to the same email address as your GA4. If you have the option, there is right now because it's still rolling out. Some people don't have the option. If you don't have the option, don't worry. It's probably going to be in like the next month or so that'll show up on your account. But it's just under admin product links and it'll say Google business profile product link and then you just link it up. It's pretty simple. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any one of the people that's on this.
Is it
It will get it
extra
done for
data?
you.
Is it extra data, or is it just making it easier to have it all in one place?
It's the same data you would get from your Google business profile for the most
Okay.
part, but it's just now linked into a place where you can report it, where it's a lot
Got it.
more clean, it's crisp, and it's being combined with the other data that's on your website as well.
That's one thing about Google. If they can just organize things better, I try teaching myself this stuff. I'm like, where the crap is it? And you can't find certain things, and I have to Google how to Google where to find it, and just make it organized. I swear.
Or
I
you
don't know.
chat GPT how to do this.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything new? What's on your radar?
Apple ads coming to Maps.
Mm.
Yeah, I finally got the contact that it's coming, and so I set up my meeting. Yeah, I'm excited. So hopefully we'll be watching that, but it's coming. So if you haven't been diversifying and taking a look at some other options besides your Google business profile, definitely start building out your Apple Maps, claiming those profiles because the ads are coming.
Meaning, so on Apple Maps, it's basically you'd be kind of priority for
Yep,
paying for.
exactly. Yeah, just like you can for your Google business profile, right? So same thing. So it's coming. And I've noticed that in some markets we're getting a lot more people saying that they don't use Google Maps as much, and Apple Maps is gaining a lot of traction. So it's definitely something to watch.
I keep waiting for Apple to get off their butt and do something with AI. And once they
Right?
start doing the AI stuff, I can see where that's going to tie in dramatically.
Yeah. They kind of
Uh,
missed the boat. They missed the boat with Siri the first time, but I don't think there's going to be a miss it the second time.
don't sleep on them. No, they'll be coming out with something. So that seriously, we've talked about that for years of how many people don't really know about Apple Maps listings, and of course they've never claimed it. They're just sitting there dormant. Did Actually, I don't even know this. The ones that haven't claimed it and dormant, do they exist? Are they still like kind of floating out there in the ether, or
They're out there. It leverages a lot of the Yelp back actually for most of the listing information is leveraging Yelp's information and platform. So if you have a Yelp listing, you have an Apple Maps listing.
okay?
So it's out there, but definitely go find it and claim it because it's just becoming more and more important.
Yeah, I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago. I don't quote me, I'm terrible with time frame management, but that's when they went from like user generated or from like data generated to user generated. And that was the big hiccup was that there was a bunch of maps that were already out there that were created based off of like all of the other platforms, the Yelp database and all of that, then you had to go claim it. But people just saw that it was on there and never went and claimed it and were like, oh, well, I'm already on there, and didn't realize they had to go actually manage it now. And the data was going to get outdated because they weren't doing as much of the crawling and all of that stuff. So
Huh.
that's kind of why I think it fell through on the Apple Map side. Not so much. They didn't do a very good job of like letting people know that you could actually go out there and claim it. And now you have the availability to change things and all of that.
And the process is a little onerous. I'm not gonna lie. It can be a little onerous. So, patience, and just make sure you read through the documentation and have everything ready to go before you start the process. You'll be thankful you did that.
And it feeds to Yelp. So, all right, boys, you're up. I have my thoughts. Again,
Okay,
we don't prep any of this. We're just going with this. But I got a question for you for Yelp. Good thing, bad thing? What are your thoughts on it? I have my thoughts. Like anything new for Yelp? I mean, it's been around forever, and I'm just curious.
Yelp is it's kind of an outlier because they tend to operate sort of outside the sphere of the business listings and citation platforms. Typically, it's an add-on, and just claiming business profiles on Yelp can be difficult and tricky, and you kind of got to work through the process a little bit. Um, I don't know. One thing that maybe is worthy of discussion is where should owner operators direct reviews? Do you put them all into Google reviews, or do you want to get some on Facebook or Yelp? Google search, I think, has multiple points of reference in terms of how they evaluate, businesses and customer feedback and stuff like that. On the other hand, consistency and just trying to drive Google reviews tends to be a cleaner way to go. And certainly building up Google reviews is not a bad idea at all. But Yelp is, I don't know, maybe it's more trouble than it's worth. If you're a restaurant, you got to do it. But storage, yeah, maybe a little less important.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, John. Like when it comes to reviews and stuff, again, we've obviously, I think priorities were number 1, 2, and 3 is Google, obviously. But at what point do you start diversifying and pointing people to other platforms?
Yeah, the
I
one thing,
struggle with this. I don't know, frankly. I just keep saying Google for everything.
yeah, yeah, the one thing I'll add with Yelp on Apple, a lot of times Yelp reviews populate on Apple Maps. So sometimes we have some people that are crushing it with Google reviews, and they check their Apple Maps and they have 1, 2 star review, and that's what shows on their Apple Maps listing.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like it's good to look at. Sometimes Apple shows like a thumbs up system where like if people actually click these thumbs up button, it doesn't show the Yelp reviews. So you'll notice it's kind of varied. But I see that all the time. Somebody has 100 plus Google reviews, 4.8 rating, and then you go to Apple and it's one Yelp review from 5 years ago with a 2 star review, and that's what people are seeing on Apple Maps. So like that's when I would probably prioritize it if, and you
So,
only really need a few.
Apple doesn't have their own review platform. It pulls everything from Yelp.
It does, but there is this thumbs up system that Apple has. It seems like if anyone clicks this like thumbs up button that's on there, that'll actually show. And it could be like 2 thumbs or there might be 3. I forget what it is. But so if you go to like Apple Maps and search, you'll see like it's different. Some of your competitors may have the thumbs up on their profile. It'll say if it's Yelp. There's like a little like I think it
Yeah.
just shows the star rating and says Yelp. But yeah, that's usually when I look at it and that's pretty common for a lot of people that are doing really well with Google. It's hard to get Google reviews, so it is hard to diversify because it's like hard enough just to get Google reviews on Google.
Yeah.
But it is something you have to think about, maybe a percentage of the time asking for other platforms and just try to work that into your process.
Have any of you guys, you deal with sites and owners all across the country. Do you see people that are doing that well across different platforms on getting reviews?
My previous employer with the system that I built for them, yes.
Tell us.
So I mean, we diversified our review strategy a long time ago. And I was actually contacted by Yelp to do a case study about our ad, and this is a long time ago. We were doing ads. And they went through the whole entire process and they're like, we can't replicate what you guys are doing. We can't do a case study. You
Really?
can be successful. It takes some gumption. Because the review filter is horrendous, notoriously horrendous. So you can get filtered out a lot, but consistency and just diversification makes a big difference.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I'm sure you guys all the time are taking over kind of new locations or ones that are probably a black cloud following them from previous ownerships and things like that. I get asked this quite a bit. Like when it comes to like for new owners, they're taking on a new site. At what point should you just cut ties, cut your losses, and just start totally fresh? Or at what point does kind of like the black cloud following them? Maybe they have a domain that's been around for a long time. Is it worth cleaning things up and then carrying on with what you inherited? I don't know. Any cases that come to mind or any ideas?
Yeah. Go ahead, Tyler.
So, is the facility going to be rebranded? Is it worthy of rebranding? Is it worth fighting for the Google Business Profile ownership from the old owners and really making sure you get that and build upon that, or mark that permanently closed and start over? I think Jim Mooney has a lot of thoughts about this. I think he says always rebrand and start fresh. It works a little bit differently in the digital world. I would just say the thing to keep in mind is that if you're rebranding, let's say you're buying an old mom and pop named Greta's Self Storage and you're rebranding it as Superior Self Storage. Know that Greta has this footprint out there where her listings are all over the place, business listings, citations. There is this sort of legacy footprint of Greta out there. So if you're rebranding, you have to take all that into consideration. Obviously, you need the website, the Google Business Profile, whether it's taken over or a brand new one. Plus, you need some sort of citation management that's going to log in and clean all that stuff up. It's a fair amount of work, but you got to do it so that Google has a very clear picture that Greta no longer exists, Superior does exist, and that's going to help you in organic search rankings.
Greta. We all know Greta sucks. All right. I'd rebrand that too.
No, she's a pillar of her community, Jim.
Exactly.
So Tyler, real quick, so when you do that though, are you taking over Greta's Google My Business profile and just changing the name to Superior? So the underlying digital footprint stays, is that correct?
It depends on, I would say it depends on Greta's reputation. So if Greta has 4 reviews and 3 stars, don't sweat it. Mark it as permanently closed, fire up a new one. If Greta has, 50 5-star reviews,
Right.
work that into the contract so that you get ownership of the Google Business Profile.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've got one this guy's owned, we're under contract. This guy's owned it since like he built it back in the 50s. There's probably around 30 or 40 Google reviews. It's not bad. It's like 4s, but he's never had a website. It's super like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, maybe I'll just get in there, keep his name for a little bit, do some revenue management structures on the front end, and then rebrand and hopefully just kind of start fresh there. But that one, I was like, man, I really should look into. He's getting traffic naturally, like phone calls, his old website, but how do we introduce that to our new brand without losing anything? Because 50 years, even though he didn't have a website, there's traffic there regardless. Um, okay. Something to think about. Thank you.
No, it's great. Yeah, any specific questions like that, cool. Raise your hands, put it in chat, and we'll bring you up. So I'm curious, like again, kind of going back to when you're taking over new clients and things like that. This is for anybody, and you may have a different changes of opinion here, but like top 5 kind of priorities, like what are you trying to hit? Is it schemas, is it citations? Is it Google Business Profiles? Kind of what's an order of priority for the hit list of what you're trying to clean up?
I think it just depends on the client. I think we're all very much like you do that high level audit and you see what their starting point is. So someone may have just like impeccable Google Business Profile listing, and maybe there's something really wrong with their website. I've actually am talking to someone right now where they rank very highly in Google Maps, but nowhere or on organic. So then you have to figure out what the problem is. So just kind of talking with them and doing that audit to figure out where they are in their journey makes a big difference.
I think the biggest thing about all four of us in this room right here is that not one of us is going to give you an out of the box package. We're going to look at what you have, really look at the data and see what's bringing you conversions, what's actually bringing you true clients, what's working for you, and trying to replicate that so that we can get, for very little effort, double our traffic, double our clicks, double our, positioning, everything like that, so that our rankings, I mean, it was just kind of a couple of clicks here and there, we can get you guys up to the first page. So that's kind of like the biggest thing for me. Like I have a client just recently started in September. Well, they just opened the facility in September. Since then, they contracted me in December, and we were able to go from 20,000 to about 45,000 impressions on just Google in that 6 months. So it's been a pretty fruitful event for them.
Don't you love that though? When you go like when they talk to the owners, like I got 30,000 impressions that had 10,000 rentals. Like no, it doesn't quite work that way.
I wish, yeah. It's like every 10,000 yeses or every 10,000 no's, we're gonna get like 5 yeses in there. So
yep.
But yeah, so that's kind of I think the big thing about working with everyone here. And then if I can't do it, I'm gonna recommend you over to Cori or to John or to Tyler, because those are my go-tos.
That's perfect. Question for, and again, I'll get to you here in a second, Tommy. I see you have your hand raised. Used to be, and it probably still is for many people, when you ask them, well, how'd you find us? You know, we're online, found you online. And we always keep saying, you gotta track. I know where your rentals are coming from. Track. But we're just saying, oh, we found us online. Okay, what are we supposed to do? So suggestions, tracking numbers, cookies, how are we tracking where they're finding us, whether it be on Google or Yelp or with our ads or just regular, online? Is there a way we can decipher this?
It's really kind of a culmination of a couple of different things: your software, your website provider, and then your marketing person who can connect all of those things, given the data is there for you to get. So it's sitting down with someone who can really go through it and make sure like you have everything that's available, like you have the data that's available to be able to track those conversions, because there are some softwares out there, unfortunately, currently that don't allow for that.
And I think
names.
That's an important one, Jim, is that there are some of the website platforms where you're just, it goes into a hole and you just don't have that capability to track everything. So it does make it really frustrating. So that's something, as you're looking at a new PMS and you're talking to them about their online rentals platform, that's a very specific question, right? Can I actually track my conversions? Because if you don't have that piece of data, it makes it very, very difficult for any of us marketers that are on this call today to give you all of that attribution modeling. And really give you a true cost. And I think that's an important conversation to have as you're vetting.
And be careful when you're having that conversation, because they'll say yes sometimes and not realize that you have a certain software that hasn't been integrated properly or doesn't have the integration, which recently happened with me. And it's been 6 months getting that integration into place, and they've had zero rental and reservation data for 6 months. And they used to have full rental and reservation data. So that is heartbreaking to have that happen.
Well, we got 4 people here. You mind naming some, like, who are some of the better softwares out there that you can track conversions?
Covey does a great job. Covey does a great job. Monument, you've got a lot of conversion tracking that happens even on the storable side, as long as you've got those tagging pieces done and correct, right? There's a lot of options out there. It's just there are other newer players in the game that have made some decisions that have made it really hard, and you wind up with a client that you can't help anymore on certain things, and it's pretty frustrating. Talk to your marketing vendors before you make a choice on your PMS. Absolutely.
I would be happy to jump on any call just to sit and listen like a fly on the wall, just to come back and say, hey, go back and ask about these couple of things because it was unclear. And I just want to make sure I'll take my time out for completely free with one of my clients to do that, because it will give me so much less of a headache and heartache in the long run.
Yeah, and one thing I'll add on conversion tracking too is with most FMSs, you could find a way to track online rentals with Google Analytics. And sometimes there's different ways you have to tag it out of the box. You're not going to get that. Cubby will give it to you out of the box, but a lot of FMSs, you have to kind of like learn how to do the custom tracking. But what I find too is like online rentals are a portion of your move-ins, maybe 30%, maybe 40%. So you still have a lot of move-ins that are either starting at the store or calling first. So that's where like you're usually going to need a call tracking tool if you really want the best and like full analytics on like where every single call is generating from. And then you need a way of taking all those calls and figuring out which of them are moving in. So like call tracking will give you the number of calls by marketing source, but then like the next step is like, okay, now you have calls by marketing source. How do you get who moved in from those calls? And that's where a lot of times you have to do some custom work with your FMS and your call tracking to be able to match up those callers. So that like two things, you're not going to get that out of the box with, I don't think I've seen any FMS that has all of that yet. So it's usually you have to pay for more tools to be able to do that. And there's a bunch of options out there for that.
And this is why you have, for everyone that's on these calls and the owners, that's why you have like these kind of, you guys, to be able to answer these questions and make sure things are actually trackable and working together. Because otherwise we're always like, oh, it comes to the website, here's a software. Cool, good luck.
Yeah. To
That's
Eva's
it.
point and what John was saying as well is that we're all small shops. We're like boutique marketing agencies and consultants, all of us. So when you're talking to us, us four, we're in the weeds. Like we're doing and building this stuff every single day. Whereas if you go to a big platform, you're talking to salespeople that want to tell you what you want to hear, and there's often a disconnect between what they're talking about and what that platform actually does. So, as John was saying, yeah, with storage, it's like pulling teeth. You can get the data, but there's a bunch of additional configuration that you have to do in order to get that. And sometimes you have to go dig this stuff out. So, for instance, if you are integrating with Cubby via BigQuery and they have an MCP coming soon for their for AI, LLM integration, you can now get call intent and intel and sentiment out of their database and then be able to work with that data, which is something we've been doing the past few weeks. So, you kind of have to get your picks and shovels and go digging for it sometimes. It would be nice if the PMSs surfaced a lot of this more natively. It would make things a lot easier for owner operators.
Cool. Well, we're going to be snipping this and sending it to everybody and be like, get your act together. Hey, Tommy, saw you raised your hand. Go ahead, man.
Hey, thank you. I'm looking at purchasing a facility, and he's on the main road, so he's getting most of his customers are people passing by and word of mouth from current customers referring friends and family. And no, he doesn't really have the online marketing or anything. Uh, well, I guess his reviews are very good, but I know the economic occupancy is lower than the physical, and that's because of discounts being given, being more lax on late people paying late and stuff like that. And obviously, once I take over, that's going to change. I'll bring it up to a little bit closer to market rate, and be not as lenient on the late stuff, and there'll be some set of rules. So obviously, the Google review will probably take a hit and all that, and I'll probably lose some customers, but I figure maybe I'll do some online marketing and so forth, and make up for that. And any, I guess, thing I can advice on how to manage that.
I'd be very careful doing quick when you buy a new facility. I've seen this happen. When you buy a new facility and you do rental increases and try to get like the old people out, they are very likely to do a slew of bad reviews, and that could very, very
Right.
negatively affect you in your community. And even if you do try to get leads, getting the leads and then sending them to your Google business profile that has a ton of 2-star reviews talking about you raising rents, new business ownership, can actually be worse. So I would suggest working with whoever you have there, seeing if there's ways to like have people who are on late, like you just work it a little bit more so you're more community centered, and then start doing like the rental increases maybe 3 or 4 months in it, but start doing your lead increases immediately. Like start doing your ads, your SEO, your website stuff immediately, and then later on. So you're starting to get those leads before you start to kind of kick out your old
Right.
tenants. So that's kind of the way that I would do it. I don't know if anybody else
Yeah.
has.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I thought I would wait a little bit and also make some improvements to the facility, so they're seeing they're getting something for it.
And that can make a big difference, right? It's all about perception. But just be prepared that you're going to have a loss, and that's going to happen. But if you start filling their pipeline now and doing those things that Eva's saying, that'll help you be ready for when that transition happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Jeff, saw you got your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Um, I am where I'm at, I'm next to I basically think I know all the keywords and what would be important, but my question would be, what is the size, what's the minimum size facility that I would want to think about before engaging an agency like one of you guys? Because, it's not huge, but when you guys are talking about these data points and analytics, um, that is overwhelming to me. But at the same time, I don't know that I'm just curious, I don't have a 1,500 unit facility. Who do you guys cater to? Like what size shops?
Anybody.
I know I've got single store operators and I've dealt with third party property management companies with 150 properties. So it's a gamut of who we're working with. And I think that's just about everybody on this call, actually. So it's and I know there was a question in the chat that kind of goes along with it, but interviewing people and feeling around and seeing who you're most comfortable with, right? Who understands what you're looking for and can give you a great explanation on what the results are going to be makes a big difference.
And that's why I invited you guys on. It's for everybody. It doesn't matter if you have a 50 unit facility or 500 unit facility. The right marketing strategies, marketing is marketing. I don't care, especially if we're talking digital here. It doesn't matter how many doors you have. It doesn't matter how much money you're coming in and what you're going to be paying, but to have the right marketing strategies behind you, doesn't matter how big you are. Well, doing the right strategies is going to be all the same for everybody. So that's what we're talking about here. And I love these guys are on here because, A, they're great with their time coming on here and answering these kind of questions. And that's the point. You can ask questions, get answered, and start understanding what's going on. Trust me, half the things they say still go over my head. That's why I'm like, all right, that's why we're going to pay you to actually do it. But I want to be in the mix of things to have a better understanding of what is going on and getting the phone to ring and not just, oh, I spent this much money on Google ads. Like, hope it works. No, you have these kind of explanations, these kind of conversations to talk about strategy. So good marketing is good marketing. That's why I
Jim,
had you guys.
I'll add that I think one of the things we all hear, I would guess, is that if somebody's tried some marketing, particularly if it's with one of the PMSs that's offering marketing services, is that it's faceless. It's a ticketing system. It takes a while for people to get back to you. They don't have representation. And, there's a certain human factor and relationship building that I think is important. And so, yeah, I think it's just one of those differentiators is can you be high touch, good communication, offer competitive pricing, but also know what you're talking about and be able to move the needle with whatever's being deployed. So, obviously it's tougher for a guy with 100 doors that doesn't have a big budget, but yeah, there are marketing strategies that you can deploy, whether it's with somebody like one of us four or yourself doing some research, like Mitchell on who's a regular, who's building all kinds of interesting things for himself. He's atypical because I think he's more in the developer mindset. But yeah, I think good communication is just critically important, not just in that initial call, but the entire breadth of the relationship. Can you get somebody on the phone? Can you get on Zoom? I think it counts for a lot still these days.
No.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to the selection too that I think is interesting that I've been thinking about is asking kind of what's everyone's thought process when things don't go right and when something doesn't work. I think anyone can sort of give a checklist or say like, here's what to do. But no matter what, a lot of times things don't work. And there's art and science. So you might be 3 months in, the data changes, your campaign is not performing. And that's sort of where things break down when you get a company that sort of disappears at that point. So I think everyone on this call would sort of relate to that on like coming up with something when it doesn't go to plan 6 months in, 4 months in, whenever that time is. Sometimes things work for 3 months, then it changes. So that's kind of, I think, what separates just kind of like a checklist or like a generic strategy versus like really trying to figure out and brainstorm with you on like how do we actually improve. So that would be the only thing I would add.
Plus, you're kind of you're on that razor's edge too. You guys are seeing what is new and what's coming out. And sometimes you get that first mover advantage before everybody else jumps on to get some eyeballs on your websites. Like, what did you just send John like 2 weeks ago? What was that? Something new you were working on or trying out? Something that came out on Google? Remember that?
Oh, it might be so there's a couple of new things. There's one that I think it just became available on June 1st, technically. It was like in a closed beta. It's called Demand Gen. So like Demand Gen campaign's been around for a while. It's not necessarily a new campaign. The new feature is there's a setting where you can check what placements you want. So Demand Gen gives like YouTube, Gmail, Maps, Display, a bunch of different kind of like performance max, but you can uncheck everything except Maps. So it's now like the only campaign where you could actually target Maps and disable everything else. Um, we're just launching these, so I have like zero data on like, is it going to be effective or because there's no keyword, it's audience based in the targeting. There's a couple different like nuances that are a little bit different than a regular campaign, but it is available for everybody now. They just rolled it out, so you could try it. And we're interested to see, yeah, where it fits in like the stack of all the campaigns that you have available to you. But
All right, go ahead, Eva. I see
Oh no, I was just
yeah,
gonna say I have to say thank you, John, because I was kind of in the weeds of things and hadn't pulled my head up to look at new features recently. And when I saw that come through, I was like, I'm doing it immediately. So same day I saw you post about it, took a couple of clients and made some
nice,
campaigns. So if I
nice.
come up with any good data, I'll shoot it your way.
Yeah, yeah, share that definitely.
Agreed. You know, John's really active on LinkedIn and always has good insight. And I picked up on this one specifically from him. And Demand Gen 6 months ago sucked. It just did not produce good results at all. AI Max is another one that has a lot of hype and hasn't panned out at least for the storage industry as we've seen. But yeah, this tip for Google Maps, I think is great. One brief addition here is that when we were doing what's the latest at the beginning of this session, Google just announced Ask Maps. So basically, they are going to have an interface where you're going to ask what you're looking for, either a storage facility near me or a restaurant or whatever, and it's going to build the map and the interface on the fly. I think primarily in your mobile device. So that's something we're keeping a close eye on to see how things propagate from there, just because so much of demand in storage is fueled from the local pack and maps. So one more thing to keep an eye out for.
I always look at local maps because that's one thing I feel like I can control is for Google Business Profile. That's a great thing I can focus on. So I mean, what is it? So you ask Maps. Can you try
Yeah,
explaining it without seeing it?
Ask Maps. Yeah, it's
What's that
basically
mean?
it's an AI overlay that they've got right now where you can actually on the mobile let me see if I can bring my phone up. We'll look at one.
Oh,
Let
if you
me just
can,
I
cool.
can do a screen share real quick, but let me bring it up so we can take a look because I think that'll be helpful for everybody.
That'd be great, Cori. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that because again, we can talk about citations and schemas and all that kind of stuff. But I think 90% of us on the call can wrap our minds around local and Google Maps. So I'd
Well,
love to see that.
and I think the one thing that it's really interesting when I'm talking to owners is they'll ask me a question about something, and I'm like, but we should be looking at mobile. And I think we still have this tendency to lean into taking and everything into account on the desktop because that's where we're doing the research and we're not necessarily looking at the user experience. So that's just my 2 cents. I always remind everybody, go look on mobile because that's where it's most important. That's where the majority of your traffic is coming from. So let me go see if I can bring this up
And
now.
I do that with owners, and we'll look at how it's displaying. Look at your own behavior. When are you ever searching for stuff on your desktop? You're not. You're on your mobile, so that should be your
Yeah.
focus.
It always does this every time I do
Oh,
this sharing.
cool.
But
Yes.
so this is near me. This is one of the local chains in town, but it's got this whole know before you go section. And then it'll give you the information. This is where a lot of people I think are going to actually know about rate increases. I know we had that conversation previously where people are like, nobody really knows about rate increases. Oh, it's coming because it's being fed to them right here and now. And as they're doing their research, they're going to see it. But then they also have this Ask Maps feature. So beyond the stuff that it's pulling in for you, like, are there all these different things? So make sure you get your services built out into your Google, your Google profiles. But you can actually just start interacting and ask Maps.
Is that basically their new Q&A?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
the
that is?
replacement. Yeah, yeah. So just definitely want to make sure your Google business profiles are extremely well optimized and build out your services.
Yeah, let's add to that. Google and the AI engines are all looking for signals about your business. And so your Google business profile needs to be extremely consistent with the information on the website and then also that web footprint of citations and business listings. You can just see it in how it's surfaced, and you have to be really diligent about it. And one thing to look out for, so I will not name them, but we have a client that's on a PMS that was doing some AI generated content on the website. And they had buried a couple FAQs on the facility page. And in the FAQs, it mentioned climate control, and they did not have climate control. So we had picked up on the climate control, and we were building out some ads, and the client, I think we had just recommended that in the checkout process, they put climate control as a bullet point in there. And they said, we don't have climate control. And we said, what do you mean you don't have climate control? It's on the website. And so if you are, trying to build out content for SEO and AIO purposes, you just have to be very careful. You need a human reality check in that process. You cannot push content that is not thoroughly vetted, and just be super careful with that. So when Cori is showing, ask maps, and there are various attributes in there related to the facility, where's that information coming from? It's what you're telling Google and ChatGPT about your facility. And so being very precise with that, and even having some sort of like maintenance plan to review that, we're building auditing tools ourselves in order to make sure that information about a facility is extremely consistent, because data integrity is going to be increasingly important in the online world.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty cool. Cori, thanks for sharing this. I haven't seen this, but I just did a search on Ask Maps. So, like, check this out. I'll share my screen. So this it's pretty interesting. So I said, like, what's the best storage facility near me? I'm actually out over here, so for some reason it thinks I'm there, but it grouped it with these headings. So top rated and convenient access, best value and modern. So that's just kind of interesting, like this layout. And then I thought this was cool. So it's saying, like, it's citing your reviews, and if you click this, it pops the reviews open. So I don't know if that's going to happen every time with this thing, but it looks like facility offers 24 hours access, and then you click this.
If you don't mind, I'm sorry. Where'd you get to this? Go back. How'd you get to this?
So I just went to maps.google, and it like prompted me. Let me try it again, because this is the first time I'm doing this as well. Actually, how do you get here, Cori? When I went here the first, I opted into it, and then it took me there. So I have no idea how to get there.
Google.com/maps, and it's the very first box at
Ask
the
Maps.
top.
It's right there.
Yes.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, here it is.
There
So
you
right
go.
here, and it prompts up like this. And basically I just did what's the cheapest this time.
There you go.
See what we get. And then it pulled in those results there. So let's see what it does. And top budget options, extra space. This is actually much closer to where I am. And see, yeah, you're getting that same thing again. So it's actually pulling in a price, which curious, yeah, is that from the website? Then this same thing, like reviewers suggest it has better prices than competitors. And you can see like it's highlighted with reliable and affordable. They were able to help me speed, price again. That's kind of interesting. We are seeing that sometimes, like the actual things people are writing in reviews are sort of becoming a little more important than maybe it was in the past, but it's hard to influence.
It looks like it's pulling keywords from the reviews itself based
Yeah.
on what you just asked it. So
Yeah, price are excellent. You can see that. Price and payment. Yeah, it's got some kind of like matching there it's doing.
Got some that are bringing up specials. So I have one that has $1 for the first month's rent. So current deals, that's a good one.
Yeah, interesting.
look for deals. I'm just curious. You think that would apply to on the Google Business Profile when you're doing offers? Wonder if it could tie together somehow.
Jim,
Yeah,
you
wonder.
would use this for looking for a restaurant to take your wife out for whichever one has the best coupons for your anniversary.
Yeah, true. There we go. I will
Yeah.
try that out as soon as we're done with this. All right. But no, that's okay. That's interesting. If nothing else, pull away from this that Google Business Profile isn't going in. It's not going anywhere. I keep hearing, I'm the AI nerd, but you're like, oh, it's might be AI is taking over and things like that. But even if AI is going to start being everywhere and the Ask Maps and things like that, where do you think it's pulling the data from? It still has to pull it from somewhere. So obviously your website, Google Business Profile it ain't going anywhere. If anything, I think it's more important than ever. When it comes to the profiles, and we got about 5 minutes left here, guys. So lightning last questions, put in there. Before I forget, please put you guys' websites or how the people can reach out to you. I've been getting messages going, how do I reach out and talk to you guys? So please put your contact info in there. But when it comes to Google profiles, give us I'll ask each of you. You get one shot at this. Give me one thing we can focus on our Google Business Profile. Is that me, single owner, mom and pop, whatever, the manager of that location? What can they do today on their profile? So Eva, you're up. Give me one.
I'm just going to take the easy win on this one and make sure it's completely filled out. Make sure every section is completely filled out and that you have good pictures. Pictures can sell your facility before you even get a chance to talk to your client. So,
and how often on pictures? I get asked this sometimes too. It's like, cool, I got 20 pictures. They're all up there and it's been 6 years. Even if it's the same picture, who gives a crap? Take the picture again and put it up there. What, a couple a month? Is there any kind of a
I know it's
standard?
always about a time commitment, but quarterly at least, at least update and refresh your photos quarterly, please.
And not delete your old ones, right?
No, don't delete the old ones.
Yeah.
Just refresh them. For sure. But yeah, I know, Eva, I always tell everybody, if there's a field, fill it out, right? If Google is giving you a field, do not leave it blank. It's there for a reason. Use it. Exactly. So that's always my advice. But, just make sure you're building out your services and your products and anything. If there's a field, use it. And they give you a lot of characters to fill the information out. So use those too. That's my biggest piece of advice right now.
I'll give a quick shout out to Josh and Melissa at Lighthouse, because they go around the country doing awesome drone footage, and aerial videography and photography is really, really important.
And you think when it comes to, again, going back for Google, you can do like 30-second videos on there as well as your posts. So you could do those kind of aerials and do 30-second video shots. All right, John, what you got?
I think you guys covered it all. Yeah, fill in all the info. There's like products, services, those get missed all the time. Like fill those in. Like what everyone said in the photos, the media, like upload those, but then do it consistently too. Like upload some new photos, video quarterly at least. Reviews are always going to be the big thing.
Is there another way to leverage? Okay, we're all getting reviews, the text reviews. Do you guys recommend any other way to leverage those text reviews that we are just sitting on? I mean, like maybe turn them into like photo
Yeah, you can
photos or
totally
things like that. I mean, we're sitting on these gold mine of reviews. I want to use them. So
do a quick little template in Canva and post it as an update. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can actually do with that. It doesn't have to just sit there waiting. You've got some options.
Another big thing that I've been doing recently, if you have good reviews coming in and they're current, is taking the reviews and throwing them into your schema so that it's showing up for the AI and stuff like that. So that's another big thing. The last 10 reviews that you've had, if they're within the last year, is usually what I do.
interesting. Okay. I got to be better about that. Because again, all of us should. We're all sitting on these gold mines of reviews and need to start leveraging it better. Not just on your website, but like, I was thinking of doing more of the photo review type thing and put it on there as a post. Because people get that all the time too. It's like, what am I supposed to post this week? And then kind of like, I know it's storage. It's hard to come up with different ideas on what to post every week, but that's an idea. All right, it's top of the hour. Those hours go by fast. Appreciate everyone joining us. Next week we'll do another kind of more of a regular storage meetup. But we are going to be doing, if you go to the storage marketplace, look for next month, we're going to do another show and tell version, and we're going to go to marketing. I think we've got a lot of you guys are already are on that. So we'll do our 10-minute show and tells to actually show some of these strategies. So that's coming up next month. I'm going to do a quick screenshot, but we're just going to do us since we didn't have everybody else on. So we're just going to do us. All right, count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Sweet. That works. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Hope you got some value out of this, took your notes, and I will see everyone next Friday.
Thank you, guys. I got some value out of it. I learned some things, so I'm happy.
Okay, if you learned something out of this, then I'm sure everybody else did too. That's
Exactly.
awesome. That's what we're here for. All right. Take care, guys. See ya.